So the green flag waves for our last pre-final of the second round of the season here at Karting Genk, the home of champions. Next up, DD2 and DD2 Masters. So no amendments post-qualifying, and your running order is as follows. Zon of Sherblak will start from pole position, and it is not just a Belgian but also a Bouvin Power front row, as Glenn van Parijs is alongside the defending champion. Mick Nolson from the Netherlands is joined by the DD2 Masters pole sitter for today, Tom Dessert, in the 530. Rudy Champion in the 544 will line up fifth alongside Sweden's Robin Knutsson in the 432 from KR Sport. Yannick Gussens and France's Paulo Bessancenes round out the top four rows, followed by Maxime Deriche and also countryman Sébastien Degrand in the 487. They complete the top 10 places. Tamsin Germain in the 525 and Roland Kinch in the 557 make it a British and all DD2 Masters row number 6. Wout Anthonissen and Carl Klebort line up on row number 6 in the 433 and the 510. Jordi Klebort in the 410 and Bart Koolman in the 516 round out the next row, and that will be row number 7. Row number 8, and then row 9 will be Christoph Adams and Brindley Kinch. "13 minutes set on the timer once again as we get ourselves ready for our last pre-final. We've had 5 yesterday. This is the 5th and final one today on day 2 before we go into the business end of the weekend. Just a quick paddock announcement for those drivers and teams out there that are listening. The podium ceremony will take place at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, local time. All drivers that are called will need to be wearing their race suits, bring their helmets with them, and also wear the mandatorily required face masks covering your nose and your mouth to be on the official celebrations this afternoon. So, the last pre-final about to get underway. They come out of the final corner. They start to split. The accelerators now get pressed to the floor as we go. Lights out, they are off and racing. Great start by Zon of Sherblak, as Glenn van Parijs slots in behind, as does Mick Nolson. Paulo Bessancenes really Champion trying to get past the likes of Tom Dessert, but Mick Nolson still rounds out the top 3 as they go harrowing their way, and there's been contact a little bit further back down the field, and one of them is the 557 of Roland Kinch, and the other one is Wout Anthonissen. And they are both literally stricken over one side of the straightaway between turn 9 and 10, and Roland Kinch is looking in a bit of discomfort there. So marshalling team on the scene. I caught the tail end of that incident happening. So now yellow flags will be waved coming out of turn number 8. So they're now just having a chat with Roland Kinch. He is moving in the cart, which is a great sign, as now Glenn van Parijs tries to go for the lead on Zon of Sherblak. So yellow flags will now stop their battling, and until they get the green flag, then they can start battling away, which they can do coming out of turn number 5, as the 2 leaders, who are squabbling like a pair of petulant children, and I hope for a fact that these two do not take each other out, because that would be an absolute travesty. So Roland Kinch just being escorted to safety. Double waved yellows coming out of turn 8 now, so no overtaking. The drivers do need to slow down and not overtake, as now they go through into turn 10, where the green flag allows them to get back at it. So it's battling away, hammer and tongs between the two at the front of the field. Zon of Sherblak leads the way. Glenn van Parijs in second, the current points leader after the halfway point of the season. Mick Nolson rounds out the top 3. Yannick Gussens in 4th. Rudy Champion leads the way in DD2 Masters and rounds out the top 5. Maxime Deriche and also Sébastien Degrand round out the top 7. Tom Dessert in 8th. Second in DD2 Masters. Bessancenes ahead of Robin Knutsson, who rounds out the top 10. And Tamsin Germain rounds out the top 11, but the Brit now currently, by my estimation, is third in DD2 Masters. So the leaders now making their way through turn 9. 10 minutes and 30 seconds, plus an additional lap still to go. Zanab Shiblak continues to lead the way in the overall classification of the race. Glenn Van Parijs, they are now being caught. Watch out, Mick Knowlton is closing. And Yanni Gersons has set the fastest lap of the race on lap number 2. Mick Knowlton now sets the fastest lap of a 54.845 as the sunshine is welcomed back with open arms. Thank you up there. We really needed a bit more heat on this circuit, let alone the action that's on it at the minute, I must be completely honest. Oh, bit of a moment there for Glenn Van Parijs as he nearly goes up into the back bumper of Zanab Shiblak, but manages to keep it under control. He's going to watch the front fairing on that kart, because otherwise, if that's pushed in, that's an automatic 5-second penalty for any driver. They are checked in the scrutineering bay post every race. Every driver gets weighed pretty much. So it's driver and kart on the scales. So we're about to complete lap number 4. And the biggest thing here, now this is a repeat of yesterday, but we are in dry running conditions here. And Glenn Van Parijs looking to steal a march. He's going to go up the inside, and he switches back nicely through into turn 2. As now Mick Knowlton goes up the inside of Zanab Shiblak. Shiblak responds and goes back up the inside of the Dutch driver through into turn number 5. And now Mick Knowlton look for the gap going through turn 6. Nothing going on there, but Yannick Gersons closing. And Gersons is a very, very quick peddler. Very, very quick indeed, as I see that Tamsin Germain has now got up into the top 10 and is closing on the rookie, I'm going to say. It's a bit like Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. You bring the rookie in and they show a good amount of pace, but then you get those people that have been competing in this class for a long time, Tamsin Germain being one of them, and she can really push the envelope. And last time around, she was only a 10th slower than Knutsson and is within 7 1,000ths on her best lap, but she's got past him. Tamsin Germain up into 9th. So one of 3 Brits competing in DD2 and DD2 Masters. Only 4 Britons from, in terms of racers. That does include 5, including me in the commentary box. But I'm not an elite sports person. A bit of a difference there, but Knutsson now going to go past Tamsin Germain through into turn number 7, as now the battle for the lead really, really heating up. Yanni Gersons, I can sense, is staying back a little bit here. You know, like saying boxing when you've got the ringside seat. That's what Yanni Gersons has got at the moment, because Mick Knowlton's looking to try and get past Zanab Shiblak for second. And then if that happens, Mick Knowlton could have that possibility. If he's got the pace in the 403, he can close on Glenn Van Parijs. It is doable. Remember the opening round of the season when Baz Lammers came in and literally put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons? Well, that's what Mick Knowlton is trying to do now. He's been in DD2 now. I think this is for his 2nd season. When I first met him back in 2018, being the commentator for the Rotax Max Euro Trophy, he was a senior Rotax driver. And now to see him in the gearbox class of Rotax, very, very different proposition. It's really, really good to see how he's evolved over the last season and a bit. So Glenn Van Parijs now leads. We have just over 6 3/4 minutes plus an additional lap still to go in the last of the pre-finals here on the 2nd round of the season. And between the top 3, they were covered by just over 3/10. It was over 7/10 just between the top 4. This time around, it's 0.769 from Van Parijs down to, as now Shiblak tries to go up the inside through turn 2. As Gersons still waiting for it all to literally be like a domino rally and they get sent everywhere in front of him. That could possibly happen. And as they say, motorsport is normally unpredictable, and pretty much it normally does happen if something gets said. But Brindy Kinch, unfortunately, will now retire from the race on lap number 5. As Tom Dessert, another one that normally is very, very quick indeed. And Tom Dessert in 14th position in front of Bart Koolman. So looks like the 530, who runs with GKS Lemons Power. The season started off well in the kickoff earlier on this year, but the 530 has not really had that amount of luck, as it is still even Stevens between the top 4 drivers. Van Parijs looking to get another victory this weekend. He's over 2.5 tenths ahead of Zonne Black. Mick Knowlton and Jan Nigussens round out the top 4 positions as Van Parijs look to go a bit sideways through turn 3, and that nearly allowed Zonne Black to go up the inside of the 415 for the lead through into turn number 4. However, Van Parijs very, very well versed. He's competed in this championship as a junior and as a senior as well. And also there was a lot of there was some news actually coming from the US with Ed Carpenter Racing with Rinus VeeKay taking his first pole position on the NTT IndyCar Series and also taking his first podium. So well done, Rinus VeeKay. Congratulations to you from all of us here at the BNL Karting Series. Well done on that one, mate. So less than 5 minutes to go. It is still even Stevens. Sebastien de Grand is now battling away with a few other drivers, and that does include Tamsin Germain is now with just over 4.5 minutes to go. Zonne Black takes the lead from Glenn Van Parijs, who nearly gets banzaied up the inside by Mick Knowlton. However, the 415, very, very well accomplished individual. He's also raced in Porsche Carreras, I think in Benelux, I think if memory serves me correctly, where Maurice Schuring is actually competing this season, and Schuring has had a good amount of success over the past few weeks and months. So when I spoke with Glenn Van Parijs, when I first saw him, I think when I met him for the first time earlier on this year, he said, yeah, I'm doing a bit more driver coaching. He's now in the process of possibly looking at moving house. A lot of other things happening in his life at the moment, but he still comes back to what he loves, karting and racing with all these people here. So, gap between Zonne Black and Glenn Van Parijs, now just under 4 tenths of a second. Mick Knowlton rounds out the top 3. Jan Nigussens still staying with them. And in 5th place, leading the way in DD2 Masters, it is France's Rudy Champion from Piquet's Competition leading the way in that classification. And being followed by a countryman in the form of Paulo Besancenes in the 453, who is ahead of Sebastien de Grand. Robin Knutsson rounds out the top 8. Maxime Deriche rounds out the top 9. Tamsin Germain is now second in the DD2 Masters classification, and she rounds out the top 10 ahead of Carl Clairbolt de Backer, who is ahead of his own son nonetheless in the 410, Jordi Clairbolt, who rounds out the top 12. So we have had 4 retirements, unfortunately. Walter Anthonissen and Roland Kinch, after coming together going through turn 4, and both of them ending up on both sides of the straightaway between turns 9 and 10. They were both out on the very first lap. Brindy Kinch out on lap 6, Bart Koolman on lap number 7. We have just over 2.5 minutes to go, and looks like Van Parijs is not wanting a certain driver in front of him to run away. And Zonne Black is being kept very, very honest. And like they say, there is to every situation, there is 2 sides to every coin. There's always a heads or a tails, and you never know which one it's going to land on, and hopefully your guess is going to be right. And that is also the guesswork that you've got to do whilst you're driving. You've got to measure your throttle input, you've got to measure your braking input, your steering input as well. But then also, how are you going to out-psych the other driver in front of you? How are you going to put the frighteners on? You know, you don't want to make it like a horror movie, but however, you're going to do your best to put them under pressure. And that is exactly what Glenn Van Parijs is doing right now. The gap between him and Zonne Black as they are line astern going through turn 5 was just under 2 tenths of a second. Through onto the Europlan they go. The 2 Boovin Power teammates. Line astern, bump draft from Glenn Van Parijs, but he sends it up the inside through turn 7. Zonne Black instantly counter-attacks and retakes the lead, going through to turn 8. Now this is Dodge and Cars. Oh, they clash! The 2 leaders clash coming out of turn 8. And Zonne Black says, what was that all about? And Glenn Van Parijs manages. Now, I did see some debris, so that was on the back of Zonne Black's car, and he is now pulling it back onto the circuit, unassisted, to get it back up and fired. And you can see the amount of tyre marks following the contact between him and Glenn Van Parijs going through the exit of turn number 8. I would say that I'm speechless, but I can't be because I'm a commentator. But that is one of the moments that I think that both of them, neither of them wanted. This has completely changed everything because now neither of them are leading the race. Mick Knowlton now leads ahead of Yannick Goossens. So those two bided their time. Their strategy worked out in their favour. And unfortunately, Van Parijs, who is in third place at the moment, Zanab Shublak is down in 14th. And is he still circulating? He still is. So Zanab Shublak, I think at the end of the day, is just trying to score points. You know, this is one of those moments that can decide a title, as Tamsin Germain trying to close on Maxime de Riche for what is 8th position on the road, and has Carl Klebot breathing, and she's breathing down the back of her exhaust pipes, and she's saying to Maxime de Riche, will you get out of the way, man? What are you doing? Because she's got her own race to run. And this is for second in DD2 Masters, as they now go through turn number 4 into 5. Now, Tamsin Germain was quicker by nearly 80 thousandths of a second, well, over 80 thousandths of a second, ahead of de Riche, and she tries to go towards the inside and is trying to get past, as now Glenn Van Parijs is down into 5th place. So obviously that car, I think he's just trying to limp it home, to be completely fair, as now we're going to go on to the checkered flag lap of all things. And now Mick Knowlton takes the win this season. Yannick Goossens takes second. Paulo Besancenes takes third ahead of Rudy Champion. Glenn Van Parijs will finish 6th behind Sebastian de Grand with Robin Knutsson. And now the thing was, did you notice the point there from Tamsin Germain at Maxime de Riche, like literally saying you should know better than that? But she still takes second in DD2 Masters, but it was close between her and Carl Klebot. Yuri Klebot takes 11th ahead of Tom Dessert in the 5:30. Christoph Adams rounds out the top 13 drivers, with Zanab Shublak finishing 16.9 seconds off of the leader, the eventual winner of Mick Knowlton, with Bart Kuhlmann retiring, Brindley Kinch along with Roland Kinch, and also Wout and Thornissen on the very first lap for the latter two. So that is it. Who thought you could have drama going into the finals? Only in DD2 and DD2 Masters. So that is it for the first half of the racing action this afternoon. But we will start things once again at 2:10 this afternoon with the last race of every single class, starting with Micromax at 2:10 this afternoon.